What's up everybody, this is Danny. Today I'm going to be bringing you the full comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the HTC One M8. Now these are definitely two of the hottest handsets to drop in 2014 and they're both great devices, but if you're stuck on which one to buy, then I'm going to try to help you out in this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to notice right away are the build materials between these two devices. Now HTC goes for the unibody metal construction, where Samsung goes for the more traditional plastics. They both feature premium 1080p displays, where the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a 5.1-inch Super AMOLED display and the HTC One M8 has a 5-inch Super LCD IPS display. They are both gorgeous displays, but they do have different characteristics. Now, the Super LCD 3 display has a more natural tone with natural colors, and the Super AMOLED display on the Galaxy S5 has more punchy colors and more contrast, and it just looks more vibrant when you put them side by side. But it's definitely a preference issue here, and I really like the natural colors of the HTC One M8, but I also love the punchiness and just the vibrancy that you get from the Samsung Galaxy S5 display. So you'll have to see these side by side. They are both fantastic displays, so I don't think you'll be disappointed in either of them. Both have superb viewing angles and clarity. When it comes to thinness, the Samsung Galaxy S5 definitely wins at 8.1mm thin. The HTC One M8 is 9.4mm thin, but the reason why is it deceives you a little bit. It's a pretty thick device, but that taper definitely makes it look thin. The M8 being thicker is naturally heavier at 160 grams, where the Samsung Galaxy S5 is 145 grams, so it's going to be much lighter in your hand. They both have an IR blaster to control your TV with, and on the bottom of the S5 you'll see a giant flap there, and that is a USB 3 port. And the reason why that big flap is there is because the S5 is IP67 water resistant and dust resistant, while the HTC M8 still uses the traditional micro USB port and it is not water or dust resistant. Pricing wise, these are very similar, $199 on a 2-year contract in the United States, and the unlock prices start at about $650 for the base models, but they do both feature micro SD card expansion, so that'll be good news for the people that want more storage. Now I know many people are waiting for a metal built Galaxy S5, but being built out of plastic does have its advantages, where you can take that back plate off and it exposes the 2800 milliamp battery that's removable. So that's big for a lot of people that want to be able to hot swap their batteries for extended battery use. And of course there is the micro SD card expansion right there. So this is going to be very important for people that like to have extended battery and carry an extra battery with them. The 90% metal M8 does have its disadvantages because it's a sealed in 2600 milliamp battery, but for most people this battery is going to last you all day, because in my use battery life has been fantastic on the M8. Now the Galaxy S5 does have a fingerprint scanner built into the home button, so people that love security, this phone might be the one for you. This is very similar to the iPhone 5S, just in a different implementation. The Galaxy S5 also has another notable hardware feature, which is the heart rate sensor right next to the LED flash on the back. Just open up the S Health app and tap on the heart rate icon, and you're ready to place your finger on the back of that sensor. You'll see a little red light there, and you just place it over that, give it a few seconds, and bam, there is your heart rate. Now I don't know how practical this is, but it's there. The HTC One M8 also has a notable hardware feature, which is the dual camera system. If you look above the 4 ultra pixel camera there, you'll see a second sensor, and what that does is takes another picture, and it has depth information on there, so you do not have to wait for software to calculate to get a deeper depth of field or to manipulate your focus, and I'll show you that later on in this video. This hardware feature is not new, but improved, and we have to talk about it because it's that good. It's HTC Boom Sound, and those are two front-facing stereo speakers that give you the best audio experience on any mobile device today. And trust me, there's nothing else that sounds like it. Great speakers. It blows away that single speaker on the back of the Galaxy S5. Now, the Galaxy S5 doesn't have a terrible speaker, but trust me, the Boom Sound just destroys the Galaxy S5 audio. Software-wise, the GS5 is running a new version of TouchWiz, and the M8 is running a new version of Sense, which is Sense 6. The TouchWiz experience on the Galaxy S5 is not very different from the Galaxy S4. Now there's a few minor UI tweaks here and there, but if you swipe to the right, you get My Magazine, which is like Blink Feed on the HTC One, and you get to get your social and news all aggregated into one little feed there. And the actual theme and experience looks pretty similar, so I think if you come from a Galaxy S4 or if you're familiar with Galaxy devices, you will feel right at home here. The Sense experience on the HTC One M8 is very similar to the original ones. On the left side you have Blink Feed for news and social aggregation, but what's new here in this version is the inclusion of motion gestures. So instead of hitting your power button to unlock your device, you perform different gestures to awaken the device. I really like that about this version of Sense. If you are familiar with HTC devices and Sense software, you're going to feel right at home here as well. Android skin overlays are a definite personal preference, but in my opinion, I think the HTC One Sense experience is a little bit less intrusive. It's not as heavily skinned. I think it's more usable for me, but some people might like the TouchWiz experience better. Now let me know which one you like better in the comment section below. No matter which one you like best, they are both being powered by the latest version of Android, which is 4.4.2, aka KitKat. So that's great that they both included the latest experience of Android right out of the box. The Android experience is very fast on both of these devices because they're both being powered by the brand new Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 processor with 2GB of RAM and the Adreno 330 GPU. Now the S5 is clocked slightly higher at 2.5 GHz while the M8 is at 2.3 GHz. The camera is very exciting, well, at least for one device, which is the Galaxy S5, because it has a brand new 16 megapixel ISO cell sensor, where the M8 still has the 4 ultra pixel camera from the HTC One, slightly improved though, and the GS5 has a 2 megapixel front facing camera, but the HTC One M8 now has a 5 megapixel front facing camera. So selfie lovers will gravitate towards this phone. The camera interface is refined here on the GS5, and I quite like it a lot. And you do still have this bevy of features here. As you can see, you can go into manual mode, selective focus, HDR, but the biggest inclusion for me here is the Ultra HD 4K video recording, which you cannot do on the new HTC One. Selective focus is one of the more notable software features in the GS5, and what that does is it just takes multiple pictures and you can see it processing there, so it does take a while. You got to hold it pretty still, and then what that does is allow you to change the focus after the shot has been taken. This is very similar to what the M8 can do, but the M8 does that with hardware and software. But as you can see, far focus, it actually focuses on the far part of the picture. Pan focus puts everything into focus, and then when you put into near focus, it gives you that bokeh effect and gives you that focus in the very front of the picture. So it works pretty well, as you can see in this demonstration. Another great feature about this new 16 megapixel camera is that it focuses super fast. I mean, look at this. Every time you move it, the focus is on point right away. So you're gonna love this about the autofocus. The M8's camera software also got some refinements here and also has a ton of features. As you can see here, you can actually go into full manual mode here. You can go into macro. And what I like about the manual mode is that actually when you set it, you can save that manual mode. So you can go back to that and reference those settings, which is great. So I like having full manual controls on the new one. The hardware on the M8 is very interesting. This is the new dual camera system where that second sensor up top just records depth information. And you can see that the focus is very quick and the shutter speed is very quick, just like the Galaxy S5. But I think the HTC One is actually a little bit faster. But here you don't have to sit there and wait for it to process like you saw it on the GS5. All you do is go into the picture and hit edit, and now you can go into U-Focus, where you can just tap anywhere to refocus after the shot's been taken. So there is the background being in focus, and now if I tap on the foreground, you can see that in focus. So I think it's much easier on this, and you can actually get some cool artistic shots here, some good bokeh effects, but you know, it doesn't work all the time, but for the most part it works pretty well. So I think you'll get some great creative shots. Now you also have some other features here where you can get foregrounder and have some sketch effects and colorize, but I'm not sure if you're going to use that a lot either. And also you have another little gimmicky feature here that uses 3D. It gives it like a stereoscopic effect with that second sensor, and I don't think you're really going to use this much, but I guess it's kind of cool to show off. That's it on software. Let's get into the real images here. Here is an image taken with the One M8, and the colors are pretty good on it, but the Galaxy S5 takes a warmer picture, and some might actually prefer that. Now, this is where it gets into the problem. Look at it cropped on the HTC One M8. That's a 4 megapixel or 4 ultra pixel shot, and look at how blurry it is, but look at how sharp it is when it's cropped on the Galaxy S5, because that's a 16 megapixel resolution shot. So if you want a higher megapixel and higher resolution shot, you're definitely going to want to go with the Samsung Galaxy S5. But if you look, the exposure is a little bit higher on the Galaxy S5. The One M8 actually takes a more contrasted shot, and some people might actually prefer that. So which images do you think look better, the One M8s or the Galaxy S5s? I think that if you're actually going to take these pictures and do something with them and take them off the device, maybe do a print or something, you're definitely going to want to go with the Galaxy S5, because the 4 megapixel resolution is definitely not going to do it. Now, I think the color replication on the M8 is better on some shots, but I think overall the Galaxy S5 definitely gets a win, and it also has 4K video recording. I can't wait to shoot more photos and videos with both of these devices, and make sure you stay tuned to the channel because I'm going to do a more detailed camera comparison between these two devices. Alright, well, I hope this video helped you out a little bit, put things into perspective, and maybe showed you what device is better for you. I really don't think you can go wrong here. They both have gorgeous displays, LTE connectivity, they both have SD card expansion, they both have the fastest processors available right now. It's just that one does something just a little bit better than the other. I mean, the Galaxy S5 is water resistant and dust proof, and the HTC One is 90% metal and has a beautiful build quality. The Galaxy S5 has a 16 megapixel camera where it outshines the HTC One's camera. But if you really care about personal opinion at all, because some of the reviewers don't really put an actual opinion in here, but for me, I think I like the HTC One M8 a little bit better, and let me tell you why. I'm a sucker for engineering and build quality, and I think that the HTC One M8 is one of the best built phones ever, and it just feels so great in the hand for me, and I love looking at this device, and as a whole, the user experience, I think it is a better phone in my opinion. I don't really take photos off of my mobile device and use them for prints or anything like that, and it's not my primary camera, and I usually just use it for social media. So if you do that, then you will be just fine with the M8. Now, it's nowhere near the resolution or quality of the 16 megapixel camera on the Samsung Galaxy S5, so if you're a camera nut, then I'd probably go with the Samsung Galaxy S5. Alright guys, well that does it for me. Make sure you hit thumbs up and like this video if you enjoyed this content, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more coverage on the M8 and the Samsung Galaxy S5, and follow me on Twitter @SuperScientific, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.